But hey, man, still got Olympics to go do, and the World Rugby Sevens Repachage is finally going to be here. This is the tournament that is to fill in the final spot for both the men's and women's team for the Olympic sides, and this is one that I think, this is some good freaking competition. It's good freaking competition. Confirmation by Jason Bray. If it's difficult, it's French. 100%, 100%, 100%. Always, always. People always say, "You're talking Greek, you're talking Chinese." No, we're talking French. All right. Oh, but this year's World Rugby Sevens Repechage, I actually am. I feel actually a little sad because one of these teams are not going to make it, and I do feel like there's at least like maybe 3 teams, definitely from the men's side, 4 teams from the men's side, and maybe at least like 2 or 3 from the women's side that I feel absolutely deserve to be in the Olympics. But it's going to be one that is difficult. So let's kind of look through it. We're gonna break it down per pools because they broke down the pools already, and we're gonna get it in. All right. But first, before we even kick that in, one of the teams that were supposed to be in there is Papua New Guinea. And it was announced just this past week that they will not be able to compete for a position in the repechage. Unfortunately, they were unable to get documentation in, and they will not be able to travel respectively to that. So, shout out Abel. Hey, you said your beloved Mexico is going to get wrecked on both sides, but hey, they're not going to get worried about Papua New Guinea. At least they get to be there. At least they get to be there, So let's take a look first and foremost at the women's side, and let's talk about it. All right. So Pool A is giving us Argentina Sevens for the women's side. All right. Pool A is Argentina, Kenya, Papua New Guinea, which is now canceled. And they also said in the rules is that they're not replacing Papua New Guinea with any new team, but they're basically going to be considering that as an automatic win. So, shout out to Argentina, Kenya, and Samoa all getting at least one win based off of the forfeit that is Papua New Guinea for the women's side. Now, this one is going to be an interesting one because of these 3 teams that are going to be competing. I believe Kenya Sevens actually was a contender off of the Challenger Cup. And they didn't win it, but they were second place. I think they fell to China on that one, which means that they're going to be very dangerous. The ironic part is they definitely are not getting their money well. So I'm really hoping Kenya government, if the women do end up winning it all, they get what they're absolutely just due. Argentina Sevens also was part of the Challenger Cup. Absolutely got kind of mollywopped a little bit. But I think this is a competitive team. And then Samoa Sevens is always kind of up and down. They have the experience and the talent, but the talent is also kind of lacking. I do feel like whenever, at least moving on, this is going to be down to Kenya Sevens and Argentina Sevens to move out of the pool play for that one. I think Samoa Sevens is going to be the odd woman out. Pool B includes Hong Kong's China Sevens, Jamaica Sevens, Paraguay Sevens, and Uganda Sevens. Now, this is one bracket that I think is probably the most interesting of the brackets because of the fact Jamaica Sevens and Uganda Sevens, I think, are grotesquely underestimated. And Hong Kong China Sevens, I know on the West, in the U.S., we're probably a little bit out of the range of information, but Hong Kong, outside of Hong Kong Sevens, has a very deep rugby community. It's a very strong rugby. It's the strongest in Asia, I think, arguably. Jason, let me know if you're still watching, if that's accurate. I believe Hong Kong has the strongest rugby setup and system in Asia right now. And Hong Kong China Sevens, I feel, is one that is trying to make their break in for whatever it's all worth. I think China wasn't able to make it in because Japan ended up winning, but this would be a nice little caveat to get in. Jamaica Sevens women have been amazing when it comes to the Rugby Americas North. Definitely one of the best in the Caribbean, especially after now Trinidad and Tobago got completely mollywopped by Colombia just this past week, like 98-0, which doesn't even make sense. Anyway, that's a whole other side. But the team that I have truly talked about, I think for the better part of the last 2 years, and you've seen it on other episodes, is Uganda Sevens. Uganda Sevens is underrated on so many levels. Those women are probably going to be the surprise of it all when it all comes down to it. I think their biggest competition, and we'll talk a little bit more on Pool C, but I think their biggest competition is going to be their continental rival, which is Kenya Sevens when it comes down to it. Now, out of this pool, I do think Uganda Sevens and Jamaica Sevens are going to end up winning it. I think they just got the size of the speed over Paraguay, which is a small team. They're nimble, but they're a tiny team, and they're not ready to be able to get on that stage. And Hong Kong China Sevens, again, is also a solid team, but they're okay. They're okay. I think they're going to get outsized and they're going to get worn down. But Uganda Sevens, Jamaica Sevens, I do feel are going to end up being top 2 out of this pool, and that's going to be a massive deal. But I think Uganda Sevens is going to end up being number 1 in this Pool B. And then lastly, Pool C is China Sevens, Czechia, which is the Czech Republic, Mexico, and Poland. Now, shout out to Abel Rosa, not the greatest faith in Mexico, and understandably so. Obviously, shout out to friend of the show, Jen Solomon, who is constantly on the Mexico Sevens side. I don't know if she's set to play in this repechage, essentially, but she's been one of the key supporters and probably was one of the first women to be able to play for this Mexico side. This is, though, I think arguably is probably the weakest of the pools. Now, out of it, China Sevens, they've already won the Challenger Cup. They already won their promotion into the HSBC Sevens. I think it's hands down, they're going to end up winning this Pool C. I think the other one is going to end up being Poland. Low key, Poland actually is kind of talented. Like, you watch them in the Challenger Cup and kind of see them in some of their stuff, especially like when they played in, I think, the European ones against like Germany and Switzerland and some of that. Like, they did damage. Them folk work in the cold, man. Like, they did their job. I don't think they're going to do very much outside of pool play, and I definitely don't think they're going to beat China. But I think they're going to end up being the top 2 that comes out from that. And then obviously Mexico and Czech Republic are going to be the odd women out on this one. So, all right, let's move on to the men's side, because this is the one that I feel also hurts my soul a little bit, because there is so much potential on here. And a little bit is a little shocking that they're in this position. So, all right, Pool A for the men. All right. We got Chile, Mexico, South Africa, and Tonga. Now, the reason why I say this is so offsetting to me is because of the fact that South Africa has been so notoriously good at sevens, but they lost to Kenya in the Africa Cup. And I was shocked. Now, it feels like they might be pulling a lot of their resources into obviously professional play, which shouldn't make a difference for the international, but they pulled it into the 15s and won the Rugby World Cup in 2019 and 2023 respectively. But my goodness, like sevens, yo, these are the people that had like Cecil Africa. Like, I used to call them the locks of doom, because they had so many speedy locks. Like, they were nothing but athleticism and just dominating for so long, outside of like the game against Japan and what was it in the Olympics in 2016 when Japan beat them unceremoniously. But other than that, they've been so dominant. But to see them in the repechage, that I can't even imagine. I do feel like South Africa is going to end up winning this one overall. And then on the low end, Chile. Chile has been an increasing and more progressively competitive team. We saw them already make it for the Rugby World Cup. We've seen them throughout South America slowly make more of an impact bit by bit. They did some damage over in the Challengers Cup as well, too, when Challenger Sevens Cup, as they were progressing on. And I think they really have a chance. But I do think South Africa is going to be better on this one, and they'll come out as top on Pool A with Chile Sevens following through, and then Mexico and Tonga are going to be the odd men out on that one. Pool B, you got Canada, China, Great Britain, and Uganda. This one, once again, another incredibly interesting, and I think probably one of the better ones that are there. Shout out 553-817. Damn, that he says, they say, damn, that is a shocker for the Blitz bot. Exactly. It's wild that they are in the repechage. You would think they would have had automatic bid, but no, they just ain't been doing it like that. But for this Pool B, Uganda, Great Britain, and China are really, I think it's going to end up being Uganda and Great Britain. Canada Sevens men, for some reason, has just tanked. Like, their resources tanked. Their care tanked. Like, everything about them has tanked. Like, there was a time when they were dominant. Remember with, like, Phil I forgot his last name, but was it Phil Sean? No, it wasn't Phil Sean. But anyway, for whatever it is, absolutely, they were always at least competitive. You know, you could expect them to at least get, top 5, top 7 in any sevens as well. But the men's suck. Like, it's not even arguable. They suck. So I don't even think they're going to compete in this. China Sevens, I think, is going to be nimble. All right, but for some reason, China men just they don't do well on sevens. Like, they should do a lot better, but they get overpowered very, very easily, and it's always kind of sad to watch. But the Uganda and Great Britain are the ones that I feel are going to be it. Once again, I have been on the Uganda train for so long. That is a rugby program on the rise that needs to be talked about more. They are easily, outside of Kenya, maybe the best or second best rugby program in Africa right now in terms of sevens. 15s is still working their way, but in terms of sevens, I think they might be the best program, men's and women's, in Africa. Shout out until Nigeria gets their stuff fully together and really get their rhythm. But, until then, Uganda is there. And Madagascar is sitting there on the side over there, like, waiting. Like, they're waiting over there, trying to wait, but they just need the money. But Uganda Sevens, I think Uganda Sevens and Great Britain are going to end up coming out of this one. I think Great Britain is going to see a different influx of players now that, professional is kind of over. URC obviously is coming. URC is coming to an end this weekend with the championship game of the Bulls and Glasgow Warriors. Premiership is over. I mind you, they're not going to be for maybe this one, but I do feel like you're going to see more. And we've seen Great Britain play during the HSBC Sevens. They're not great. They're not really that good. They're formidable. And within this pool, I think they're going to be formidable enough. But I do think that Uganda Sevens end up getting a top one on this one. And then finally, Pool C, where you have Brazil, shout out to Brazil, Hong Kong, China, Papua New Guinea, who's obviously disqualified, and Spain. Now, this is one that, again, is interesting because it's a bunch of underestimated. Again, mind you, Papua New Guinea is knocked out of this one. But Brazil men have always been just on the edge of getting over. Just capable. They have the talent. I know when we're here, Sao Paulo and Rio is basically where most of them come from. They usually have played overseas at some point in time and then come through. Brazil men have a lot of talent, building talent to go with. They just tend to underachieve. Now, who I do believe is going to come out very easily on top of this one, Spain Sevens. Spain is by far the best team in this Pool C. They are underestimated how quick they are. That soccer to rugby pipeline that they kind of got going on is legitimately working for them. It's very similar to what's going on with Portugal. At Spain is very nimble. They got promoted up to HSBC Sevens as well too, so they know how to win. Like, to be able to get the Olympics and get back to HSB7s, bruh, it's you can't talk anything less on that one. Like they are going to end up doing something with this one. But I do think that Brazil sevens is going to be able to knock some out. Hong Kong, China is just a China team that wasn't able to qualify before. It's China up there, but it's like the second squad of it. Like it's I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to be the odd men out on this one when it comes down to it. Yo, I'm gonna just start saying 5-3. Hey, baby. He's like, I can't wait for Uganda and eventually Nigeria to join the mix. Africa has a bunch of sleeping giants. I 100%. Sean, I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Thank you for putting the name to it, because 5-3-8-1-7 is definitely takes a lot of energy for me. But yes, I can't wait for Nigeria to kick in, and they are. Shout out Stephen Lewis and really being able to guide this one, and Fred Gamu, Freddie Ajuda, Henry Ajudwa. Shout out to friends of the show. But yeah, like this pool C, I think is going to be Spain and Brazil on this one, and I do think it's going to come out. When it comes down to it, my predictions for who's going to be winning it from the women's side. Real talk. From the women's side, the way it looks, I do actually think that it's either going to be Uganda or Kenya. I don't think there's another team that is as matched. Or, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. It's going to be China. It's going to be China. I think it's going to come down to China and Uganda, but I think China's going to come out on top. I think they just know how to win. They've just been there a little bit more. You know, they just gotten a chance to work with it a little bit more, get down to it a little bit more, and been on the bigger stage. But I think Uganda is really going to take advantage, and I hope the government of Uganda also takes advantage of that. From the men's side, man, it should be South Africa. Man, it really should be. If South Africa doesn't do it, like they might need to just go ahead and cancel their sevens program, because clearly they don't care. But I said there was like 2 or 3 teams that I wanted to come out of this one that I really think would be able to do it. And it's South Africa, Great Britain, Uganda, and Spain. Those are the 3 teams. I do think that the men's is going to come down to South Africa and Spain sevens, though. And that's why I said it should be South Africa. I think it's going to be Spain who ends up winning it. I think Spain is going to get that last spot because they are feisty, they are tacklers, they know how to pass, and they know how to kick, which is great for positioning. Sucks as a prop, great for positioning in sevens. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are, man. Like, where do you guys feel like this is gonna go? How do you feel like the repechage is going to actually show out in this year? I truly have no idea. But look, like I said, I think it's gonna be women, Uganda, China. I think China's gonna win, and I think it's gonna come down to Spain and South Africa, where I do believe that I think Spain is probably going to get the win on that one. But Sean, like you, I believe my brain says that South Africa should win. My heart says Spain should win, and I'm going to go with my heart on this one. But I want to know what you guys thought. Let me know in the comments. Obviously, hit us up wherever you want, and let's break this down. Let's see where it goes.
We're taking dumplings to a new level. My name is Gifte Belu. I'm here with Health Enhanced Foods, and I want to introduce you to one of our most popular products, dumpling flour. What makes our dumpling flour so popular is that it is a mix of unrefined super flours that create the maximum level of nourishment for your personal dumplings. This is including mixes like buckwheat, sunflower, flax seeds, everything that helps to be able to make your appetite stronger, more fulfilled, and healthier. Including within that, we have no added sugars, so we want to make sure that it is rich in protein, rich in fiber, and rich in vitamins and minerals. Our dumpling flour is diabetic friendly, high in quality gluten-free mixes with no rice. And if you know, you know. There's always a little bit of rice to be able to stabilize it. Not here in our dumpling flour. It is naturally nourishing. And of course, it's a great substitute for wheat-based dumplings. With this gluten-free dumpling, you can now make your croissants, you can make your rice dumplings, you can make your dessert dumplings. You can absolutely find this at healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead, get yourself a bag, get yourself a pallet, and make sure that you can fulfill for your people and yourself the way that you really deserve it. Don't wait, let's go.